Yes, how are you?
Great. How are you, Yasir?
I'm good, thank you. George, first of all, thank you so much to accept our request to come with us on a broadcast. So it's really player. We are, HIV Buddies, including MENA experts. So as you know, HIV Buddies is working for long time initially in Pakistan, Asia, South Asia, East Asia, Asia Chemsex platform, and so many things we did together even, and you were the part of many activities. So now we are in Canada, so I just like started again in HIV Buddies to just like work for South Asian, Middle Easterns, in and North African community and Muslim communities who are living with HIV and HCV, and or in or on high risk for about I'm trying to just like include chemsex and PNP as well. About Let's talk about these things, because in the background, when we are talking about background, so we never talk about sex and sexual health and rights. So just
Yes.
like, so this the purpose of this broadcast is just like let's talk about things, and maybe it will be helpful for our community in South Asians and Middle Easterns and North Africans. Might be it will be helpful, and thank you so much. um so um
Let me say first, thank you for inviting me. I'm so excited to be the first one in this podcast, and it's really exciting to see your can you say your road all the way from Pakistan to Canada. How things have changed. We're both forced into exile at some point, but I'm glad to see that you didn't stop. The show must go on despite everything.
yeah, people try to stop us, but still we are we are
Yeah.
committed with our work. And thank you so much. I'm excited to work with, oh no, with you for a long time. So the thing is, first, I just want to know, can you share about your introduction, what you did? We know, but I think people wants to know more about you and your work, and how you started this work, and about your journey to MENA to Barcelona.
Yeah, it's a long story. I'm old. So, I know where to start, but I think I would start in 2004. This is when I was in Paris because I left Lebanon. I went to Paris to study and was hoping that this is where I could live my life as a gay man there. And but once I got there and studied, there was always this conflict between my Lebanese identity, which I left behind me in Lebanon, and being gay, which I feel comfortable with in Paris. So being able to join the two was really my dream. And then in 2004, I was in touch with some of the gay groups in Beirut, and they said, we're thinking about starting an organization. Let's do it. And I immediately packed my bag and went back to Beirut. And this is how the idea of Helem, the first LGBT organization in the Arab world, started in 2004. Then, few years later, there was a demand for us to do more regional work, not to limit ourselves to Lebanon. And this is how we started the Arab Foundation for Freedom and Equality. Was my second baby. And in parallel to this, my third baby was the first sexual health clinic in the Middle East, which was Mersa as well. It's in sex-friendly space. So yeah, this is my background. This is how I started my activism, and I built these three organizations, of course, with other colleagues. And then in 2015 and 19, eventually I became part involved in political work as well, not limiting myself to LGBT work, because of course, you know, we are at the forefront of every social movement as an LGBT movement because the corrupt system is the reason behind our oppression. So changing politics, making a more transparent governance where we can hold the police accountable, we can change the laws, it affects us directly. So I was involved in politics, and eventually in 2019, I became also very visible in the Lebanese revolution that happened in October 2019. And then I think this has affected my LGBT work. There was a lot of pressure, there was a lot of harassment coming from the police, a lot of campaigning and you know character assassination that happened. And eventually, I thought it was best for me to leave Lebanon, especially after the explosion of Beirut, where I felt that things might not change soon, and my political work was affecting my LGBT work. So it was best. It was the time, to say that probably it's time for me to go. And otherwise, I would have been in jail now because I know there was a fight being prepared and cooked for me to go to jail. So sometimes, as activists, it's you need to identify which is the time for you to pass on the torch and keep doing the work from different location and being the voice of people who are still in Lebanon. I think we still have a role to play as people in diaspora, like the role that you're playing right now in supporting the movement and in supporting our new community here in Barcelona. I mean, most of my efforts now is focused as a volunteer here in supporting my community where I am now, my new city, Barcelona. But as part of my professional work, I do a lot of work in the MENA region, and I'm now the SOGI Focal Point for the World Bank, covering the uh, issues related to LGBT in the Middle East and North Africa.
Wow, wow, it's a long journey, Georges. So just like I'm really
It's,
glad for you because you just like did a lot of work for community, and we really, me and our all friends proud of you. So I think we met in 2021. Uh, so on the platform of drug issues and Chemsex, for Asia Chemsex platform with the help of
yes.
Ben, right? So yeah, so it's just like 4 years journey together working on different platform. I already, I feel proud to work with you. So so how did you found? What is the difference between in MENA? Because can you share about the work about MENA? Middle East. How did you work started? Just like you shared, and how was the experience to work for the community? It was just like condition also with the community
Uh,
condition
you
in
can
Middle East and North
refer
Africa.
to Chemsex specifically.
Oh no, just like HIV and LGBTI, and you just like general, not only for
Listen,
chemsex.
the work on, my work started as LGBT activism. And eventually, a part of our work, we said we are going to do some HIV testing in our organization, just to do HIV work, because the WHO was back then trying to reach out to the most vulnerable population, and the MSN community was one of them. So we started doing HIV testing only in the organization, and something very interesting happening.
So what was the year of it?
2006. Yeah.
2006. Wow.
So something very interesting happened during the years. We started noticing a lot of women, heterosexual women, was coming to our center to get tested. And the reason why, because they said we feel much more comfortable speaking about our sexual life within the LGBT community than to talk in mainstream centers, because sex was a taboo. And then we started exploring the idea. So this is what we need. We need a place where people can speak about their sexuality without any judgment. Every mainstream center, even if they say they're open-minded, there was a lot of judgment that's still coming from culture. So this is where the idea of MRSA started. That MRSA is not going to be an HIV testing center; it's going to be a holistic sexual health center, open for everybody, members of the LGBT community, including queer women. Who, for me, queer are women who are even heterosexual but living outside the norms. Because in Lebanon, a woman who have a sexual life without marriage is part of the sexual minorities as well. So we opened MRSA, which is a holistic center for everybody. And it was a big success. People needed this, not only to test for HIV, but also to speak about their sexual practices, STI, and to talk to psychologists as well. Mental health was part of it, because a lot of the sexual health issues are directly connected to mental health, which brings us to the chemsex work like much more later, 10 years later, uh, working on the chemsex issue. The chemsex was
Can you tell me what is a chemsex? Just like for might be there not understand about what is. Can we elaborate chemsex? Just
sure,
like
sure. Yeah, I mean, chemsex is the use of the drugs during sexual activities with the intention to extend the sexual practice of the session for up to 2 days of sex, and also it's a way of for many people, it's a way to extend the pleasure as well that comes from sex. And I think we're going to talk about this later on. But
Yeah.
I think the idea of how did the work start with the community is that there's the prejudice about sex, the shame around sex, was preventing a lot of people to seek help, and people would spend years without testing or wait for if they have the possibility to go outside of Lebanon to get tested. That was the situation in 2009 when we started Versa. Now we're in a complete different position. People, there's different sexual clinics now open to the community, but this is how the first work started, saying that we need to talk about sex, and
Yeah.
there's no sexual health prevention, there's no HIV prevention if there's not no openness to talk about sex.
Yeah, so when the problem is always we Muslim community and Middle Eastern and North South Asian community always just like never talk about sex and sexual rights and sexual health. Even they even I mean I'm surprised when heterosexuals women coming at your testing centers to just like talk about more about sexual health because they did not get comfortable zone from the heterosexual men, right? And doctors and maybe nurses as well. So yes, and also whenever we talk about Muslim community and South Asian, so always just like coming with shame, just like culture, just like I mean sometimes we are just also and also we have no any education in the past as well, and still in we when we're talking about small towns they never talk about this, right? So maybe in the metropolitan cities they are comfortable to talk about because they are thinking they are liberal, and but still I think for my understanding in Canada as well, so people do not like to talk about sexual health, even HIV. So whenever they know there's a one person is positive, they try to avoid him or her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have an idea about HIV positive community? How was their suffering with the community?
Listen, I remember very well in the 80s when we started talking about HIV in Lebanon. And in the 80s and the 90s, again, there was a lot of, as you said, in our region, it's not only about Muslim, even the Christian. My family is a Christian background, but
Yeah.
we have the same culture living in that region where we depend a lot on society in general. We're not we the poorer that you are, the more you are. The community has much more to say about your life because we depend on each other. So what the community says about you is extremely important, and the shame that comes with it. And most of the families, the what people say about you is much more important than your own life. What do people say? And this is the curse of our region is that we suffer to please people, and people are really pleased. So I remember when the first time we were talking about HIV, a lot of people with HIV would say that they got it through blood transfusion at hospitals. They wouldn't say that they got it through sex because HIV was double shame that you are sick and you got sick from having sex. So most of the people would say, I remember on TV, and it was clear for me, watching the TV. This person did not get it through transfusion. They got it through. I mean, it's obviously a gay man talking, but they wouldn't dare saying this. So for society to accept you as HIV positive person, they would say, it's not your mistake. You got it through transfusion. And of course, even up till now, we're talking about years afterwards, still the shame related to HIV is not only being sick, is because you had sex and you had sex outside of marriage. And this is where the shame and the guilt people, would say, it's your fault, and people will still blame you. So yeah, it's not already being ill. Even people that they have cancer, they try to hide it. So being ill and ill with something you get from sex is definitely extremely double stigmatizing for people living with HIV. Even if things are changing now, but still we trace back to everything to we need to break the taboo around sex, and this everything else will follow.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, I mean, I remember what happened in Pakistan. Everyone just like creating, I mean, a lot of stigma and discrimination with the community who are living with HIV, and especially they're just like boycott with those community friends. So oh, I suffered a lot in my life. So I said, oh my God. So there's just like people are just like talking about these things, and all community, and to be an activist for those communities, just like massive and big initiative to just like, it's really difficult. So I can hear you what kind of people were just like suffering in and everywhere, not just like even in Canada. There are many Canadian people who just like, we are thinking we are just like very broad minded and we are accepting, but trust me, just like when I saw these kind of incidents, people are just like shame. I mean, they never discriminate, but they don't want to be connect with you, I mean, with the positive
Yeah,
community. So I was just like, when they don't like to, there are, I mean, I'm living in Toronto, they are very good, and but when I'm talking about my community in South Asian and Middle Eastern and North Africa, so they're just like, oh no, you are positive, so we don't have to meet with you. And also, oh, they are, so there are many, and also in when people are coming from not from Toronto, but just like in the small towns and villages. So they're just like, they don't know about much about HIV. So I was surprised. I said, we are not working for awareness and so many things. Yeah. So everywhere we need something to talk about these
yeah.
things. Thank you so much to share about. So 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 what you guys did in the previously about in MENA about positive community.
Uh, Listen, of course, I don't remember when was the first time. It wasn't long when since a person who is HIV positive went on TV and said they're positive with a uncovered face. I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's one of my colleagues. You know, I'm really proud of him. Eli Libanan was the first one to go on TV and say it. Uh, uh, but most of the time, people would go behind the curtain and, you know, they're with their face hidden. Uh, and this, for me, this added to the stigma. I would say to people, you know, I prefer that people don't go on TV and speak if they have to hide behind the curtain, because it adds to the scary part of people hiding before. So, but for the longest time, people living with HIV had they could organize, but they could not be as visible as they wanted to be, because, you know, there was a fear behind it. So there was an organization working on for HIV positive people in Lebanon under SEDC, if I don't remember. But I don't. The first time I've seen a group of gay men positive creating a coalition around HIV started in 2006. Was completely underground, but the first visible network was M Coalition, which was in 2017, I think it was created. It was the first gay men-led network for gay men who are HIV positive, and it was hosted within AFE by the organization I mentioned before. Because one part of the work that you were doing is that whenever there's a network or a group that wanted to start but did not have the space or the capacity to do it, we would host them so they can grow and then they can become completely independent. Um,
You're talking about
I'm
M
coalition.
Collective, right? Coalition. Sorry. Coalition. Yeah. So I'm interviewing to Ali
Okay.
soon about Ali Velen as well. So yeah. So I remember. I mean, I was checking my post in 2021. I said, oh my God, I collaborate with the LM and M Collective and so many things as well. I said, oh my God. So
You know, I think the
so yes.
biggest change that happens, even for LGBT people or for HIV positive people, for me, I think a change really happened when they took over the activism on this field. Before, as LGBT community, we were operating under, you know, the human rights, but we were never a priority. For HIV organization, there were also people who are not HIV positive who were leading this organization, and they could never express the same way the needs of HIV people the same way
Yeah.
the HIV positive people do. And it makes a huge difference when the first HIV positive person would go on TV and say, I'm HIV positive, without the face covered and without having to hide behind, you know, a blood transfusion. That was a big deal for people to say, you know, I'm not scared anymore. So this is why I think this kind of shows, again,
Yeah.
they're extremely important for people to know that this is, you know, this is something we can talk about. And if somebody has an issue with this, it's their problem, not ours.
Yeah, you remind me my first interview on TV into first March 2020, 2014. So it was on Zero Discrimination Day. So with the UNAIDS. So just like, okay, people, I'm living with a healthy life, and you can come and start treatment as well. So just like once you're accepted, before just like I was not accepting anything, so just like accepted, and then you can do whatever people can say and whatever you do when you're doing your work. So as like so remember, as also there was so many deportation from Middle Eastern organized city countries to Pakistan, and just like mostly they were initially we were listening there, they just gave them poisons, and I don't know, but I have no any evidence. But later I received a lot of positive community cases who deported from Middle East, and especially in Saudi Arabia and Dubai, and so many Middle East countries, and so yeah, even 2023, my I know, so there was an HIV buddies client who were just like deported from uh, from Saudi Arabia. So then just like a lot of deportation about Saudi, they don't like to talk even about these issues. And also there was a trans man who are just like getting, who want some test kits and treatment in UAE. So it's like too much difficult to work in these things, and especially in HIV and thing. And once you are HIV positive, and so I think as per my information, they, I mean, Middle East and Saudi, they send you, if you are national, they send you some Europe for live, and when you are undetectable, then come back and with medicines. So I said, oh my god, I mean, I don't know these kind of things. That's like new information for me. So for, and the other people who are not, or not national, they deport them. So just like too much taboo for positive community.
It's brutal. It's brutal. I mean, Lebanon. I think I don't know if there's any Middle Eastern country where foreigners are not deported for being positive. But there's difference about how strict they are. I know in the UAE, to get your residency, you have to do the test, and if you are positive, immediately the authorities are alerted, and you have 6 hours to pack your bag and leave. And some people were taken from
Oh
their houses,
yes.
put in jail, until they book the ticket for them and they leave, as if by walking you're just gonna spread the virus. I think it's one of the archaic laws that's still there. I know that UNAIDS was doing a lot to try to change these laws, but it's just to show you that sadly ignorance govern in our countries, and this is why this fight is important. This is why it's important for the average person to put a face on what is HIV positive person. So this idea, people will fear whatever they don't know. So whatever they hear on TV, whatever
Yeah.
I remember as not as a poster, as gay man, I would listen on TV and they would say, that gay men are devil worshippers. That I don't know, there's blood that we sacrifice, thing that we drink blood. All these were rumors that were spread about the LGBT community, and people believe it because there was nobody to tell them that this is a stupid myth. I mean, doesn't make sense. So again, put talking, going, speaking to the public, putting faces on the communities is extremely important for us to push for the laws. Because when you come and say, we need to change the law, people would know I'm changing the law for this person that I know. But it's a long process. It's not easy, and sometimes it comes with setback. But we're moving forward.
Yeah, you're right. That's why I mean Everybody started initiative. So in different languages, just like in Arabic, let's talk about with the Arabic community. In South Asian with the Punjabi and Urdu and Hindi. So let's talk. So have you seen? We get a chance to check
I
the
saw.
avatars, and not
Very
not
nice.
for just like the original ones. Just like maybe we will later just like make some fun as well about HIV. Just like first session was just like to share real information, and later we will just like go with this just fun HIV, maybe spoon, maybe so just like
Yeah,
fun thing, just like to make it fun, not just like people
dramatic.
are, I mean, just like make it normal, maybe just make them normal, just like regular person, not just like a taboo person. Yeah, so I was working with Navara. Sorry, I was working with Navara. So just like in making Navara Women Network as a with the technical support providing from Pakistan. And I said, oh my God, there is a woman living with HIV who have always listening a lot of problems. And when in 2019, I remember ITPC MENA, I was just like presenting in Casablanca. I said, "Oh my God, there are so many issues and listening all about HIV." So I said, "Oh my God, we have to do something about." And I think they started about Chemsex and PNP as well, some initiative. So I remember these things. Sorry, George, it's just like one
Yeah,
minute.
I agree with the fun issue. I think one another stigmatizing. Sometimes the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and a lot of HIV organizations who are not led by HIV positive people were using the pity language that oh, support this person.
Yeah,
They're not the bad people. We're not looking for pity. I mean, this is and
yes,
again, this
yes,
the pity is very stigmatizing. That again shows that you are a weak person and that you failed somehow, and we need to support you in your failure. This is not the case. This is something that we need. Part of the visibility is to challenge this, and no, it's fun. We are people that we we just exist. Some of us had sex and got HIV, and that's it.
so there was a national program. Let me share you a thing. So there was a national program, and just like was on World AIDS Day live with all doctors and one in the end, and they include me as well in the end, and they said, "Oh, I mean, Allah gave you a good health in the last," and I said, "What do you
Yeah.
mean about it? Good health? I'm already good enough, and healthy life. So." So what do you want to why you are telling, why you're sharing, why you said to me, I mean, I'm not healthy. They're just like, oh no, no, what do you mean? I just like said, you just like
Yeah.
pity for me. Yeah, so I think Randy is with live with us, and he shared some messages as
Okay.
well. And he said, yeah, so I suggest like those of us who
Yeah.
have the privilege and safety of disclosure are HIV status. Do you know Randy? Randy is a HIV activist, especially in U equals to you, living
No,
in
it's nice to
Canada.
meet you, Andy.
And I really love that guy. He's just like very open about his sexuality, and so he always talk about U equals to you, and he's a very big activist
Good to
about
meet you.
these things.
I
So
mean,
I
yeah.
really love his deliver whatever he's talking about ever. He's just like very open about HIV positive community, and U equals to you. So we need to trust on U equals to. So, but the people are just like did not understand about why we need to trust. So in back home, they just like if they are people are positive and they want to conceive, they just always bring them for the woman always go for the prep. I said, why once a person is positive and undetectable for long times, then why a partner should go for the prep for the conceive? And they said, but they have no any trust on you
No,
equals to you.
but this came again. It's hard to let go of this baggage that came with HIV at the beginning. Where uh, I remember when I was volunteering in Paris with Ed, they had a room of pictures of people that they have to accompany for death. Because the support groups for HIV positive people the first years were support people to help people accept that they're going to die. And fortunately, the science has evolved and things have changed. HIV now is much less of an issue than diabetes, for example. I'm diabetic myself, so I know it's it's much more of a handicap than HIV. So, but this fear that came before and the shame, again, the double shame that this is a virus that kills you and it comes from sex. We had to go through 20 years of this, and still till now we could not shake this history. I mean, we're still stuck in this area. Things have changed. I mean, it's like people, panicking about having the flu now. Yeah, people used to do from the flu before, but they don't die from it anymore. But I think again, it's something that people don't want to touch because it's again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. If HIV was not transmitted through sex, it would have been much easier to address it. because I think again, to talk about diabetes, diabetes is a much more serious illness than it is than HIV is, because it prevents you from what kind of food you can eat. It can immediately affect your heart. It can kill you, very quickly. But nobody is ashamed to say, that I have diabetes. Nobody is ashamed to say it. So again, let's try this back.
I, I think I have to write. I have to uh, read this thing. HIV is a virus. Virus stigma is the disease. Oh my God! I mean, Randy, you are just like great. So Randy is just like said. So I love him. That's why HIV is a virus, definitely. So, but stigma is a real disease because it's not. I mean, it. Due to stigma, we lose a lot of community members. In very ways, not only for HIV. If you are doing Chemsex and PNP, party and play, they just like give you a corner. They did not allow you to work. They did not allow. Even in Canada, even me. So just like a previous life of Chemsex and PNP, they don't like me to do work with them, and with a lot of people as well. So just
Mm.
like reality. So
Yeah.
or so what is the difference? Can you please, Georges, let me know about what is the difference in MENA when you're living in Barcelona, Lebanon, and now you are in Barcelona. So what is the difference between the community of MENA over there and in Barcelona?
You know, ultimately, we have the same needs. The only difference is being gay here is normalized, and you're not ashamed to go and speak about it. There's a lot of services targeted towards the LGBT community, and the city tells you it's okay to be who you are, and here are the services. I don't even feel the need to raise the rainbow flag. I go to the Pride because it's fun, but I don't feel that I need to fight to be who I am in this city. Of course, there's discrimination, but there's going to be everywhere. But not. I mean, you feel that at least the system protects you. And I keep telling my friends here, even the chemsex community, you have no idea about the luck that you have, that you live in a city where the mayor speaks about chemsex and say, we need to teach the police, we need to have services. You go into a public hospital and there's a sign about chemsex. So the difference between here at Lebanon is, in Lebanon you cannot afford to make a mistake as
Yeah.
a gay man. If it is sexually transmitted disease, if it is getting HIV, if it is having an overdose on drugs because decided to party a little bit hard, there's nothing you can do, and you try to solve the issue in private, because going to the hospital, and there's a lot of hospitals in Lebanon, if you go with drug issue, for example, they would call the police on you. So the difference between them is that you can live your life and survive here. And in Lebanon, we had to create our own survival mechanism, our own network. And this is why MARSA was created. And this is why there's a lot of groups like school working on drug issues, that they're creating their own service, because we cannot count on the public services and on the government for this. Um, yeah, I think that would be the main difference, is that I don't need support. I mean, I don't need to create a network of support. The government already offers me this support, and it makes a
Yeah.
big difference. And I feel connected to Barcelona much more than Beirut because of this.
Yeah, I think you remind me some cases in back home, even my personal cases as well. Just like when I raised issue on Chemsex in 2018, I face a lot of issues in Pakistan as well, and also people just like who are doing in party and play, just like psychoactive substances. They were suffering with a lot of mental health, and there was no any. I don't remember anyone who was just like working for psychoactive substances, because we are just like, we always have a problem with heroin, we always have a problem with other drugs, but we are not accepting, oh, there's no issue, we don't have any psychoactive substances, and all community were using everywhere about, and we lose a lot of community members due to overdose, due to due to mental health attacks, or just like anxiety attacks with so many things, and and we have a lot of cases in back home. And then I mean, I remember I always talking everywhere about Chemsex, and one of my colleague from UNAID said, Yasser, if we are doing any workshop and meeting and Yasser is not talking about Chemsex inclusion, this is not possible. And for your information, for the next guideline, we are including Chemsex as a proper work in the national program. I said, okay, thank you so much
Yeah.
to accept it. So, but still, if I can see these things in back home, it's just like still we in community is struggling, and still we are coming with the same mental culture in those countries. And but still, when I moved to Toronto from Pakistan, Lahore, we have no any services in back home, but there are a lot of services, but still community have the same mentality which we are coming from back countries, and we are not going out for support, we are not coming out for getting support for. And also still we have, I mean, the advanced medicine in Canada is but still we are not going for treatment, we don't like to go for HIV testing. So I was surprised when South Asian, Middle Eastern, North African community never go for testing for HIV. I mean, they go, but just like we never promote them to just like, let's go, there's no issue, we will help you. They always hide. One time I met with the Muslim guy with the from where from Lebanon, I think. So he was just like scared. He diagnosed with HIV a few months ago, and he was totally scared. He said, "Oh, I was using Tina crystal meth, and I don't want to share with anyone because I'm comfortable with you, and I love to talk with you." So people are not comfortable even to share about these things
Yeah.
in Canada as
Listen,
well.
I mean, I have also worked with the refugee community here. Let me start by saying, I mean, chemsex englobes a lot of taboos. It's about homosexuality, it's about sex, it's about drugs, and it's about, STIs. So nobody wants to touch the subject. I was surprised how many LGBT organizations still don't want to speak about this issue because it's stigmatizing for us. And a lot of drug prevention organizations don't want to talk about chemsex because it's about sex. It's not about drugs, so it's too stigmatizing for us. So it's a subject that very few people wanted to touch. So to go back to the migrant community, a lot of I was very privileged because I got to Barcelona and I got to be surrounded by the community here. I had time to learn the language, Spanish language, and speak to people. A lot of refugees who come here, it's really harder for them to connect directly with the community. It's a big community here. There's a lot of bars and parties. It's hard to find the clique when you fit in. So a lot of refugees when they come here, they go and find refuge within their home country community. So if you're Pakistani, you would come and you would look for the Pakistani community who would help you, and you would look. I happen to live actually in the Pakistani neighborhood in Barcelona in Raval, surrounded by the Pakistani community, and a lot of people they just live here within their community because things are accessible. They speak the language and they understand them. So the shame is still here because if their community knows about them, they still have the same culture that they came back from Pakistan. It's not because the Lebanese in Montreal, for example, they still live the same mentality of the Lebanese in the 70s. So that doesn't change, especially the migrant community. Usually, the people in the country evolve faster in terms of acceptance than those who are migrant because they're so protective of their culture. And we see this with the Lebanese in Canada, for example. So yeah, they still have the same shame because ultimately they still depend on their community. The solution for this, and this is where the local gay community needs to be aware of the needs of the refugee community. I spoke to people who tell me that, I'm Arab, I'm Moroccan, I'm Algerian. I would not be accepted by the community because there's a lot of racism and classism within our community as well. And the only place where they're invited to is whenever there's sex and drugs. So they feel that this is the only space where everybody is equal because it's about sex only. So again, I mean, we need to raise a lot of awareness within our community that people, even when they come to a country, they're having a hard time connecting with the local LGBT community and how to work on this to create space where they can where actually the LGBT community can be a community where we can depend on, then people will be easier for them to speak about these issues. But a Pakistani coming to our Lebanese or Moroccan coming to Barcelona and doesn't speak the language, they still depend on their community.
Yeah, it will be more difficult for me as well to speak French and Spanish rather than English. So I was just like afraid from when I moved immediately. So just like I also misuse so many things, but I was just like I always know English, but mostly I was hesitant, but to speak because it was not a mother language. So but when you are people are not speaking English, so it's just like even English. So I'm talking about, so they are just like getting a lot of misuse from the community. So I mean, George, I mean, in just like in Canada, we never talk about, hey, I mean, we have a lot of things to do if you are using drugs, so we will provide you these things, supplies and after effects, mental health. So we never talk about, hey, if you use it, it will be harmful for you. So do you have any, I mean, they never talk, I mean, I'm not talking about stop you, but just like they give you information initial basis. So do you have, I mean, we have some resources, but not just like, well, just like limited resources. Do you have these kind of resources? Hey, if you use Tina, so they will be, might be it will affect you, but because newcomer always, the migrant newcomer always just like have something, hey, let's do something new because I never tried these drugs in back home, and if I tried, so I was always afraid. So but do you think we have these are curiosity to do new things in Barcelona, and people are stuck in the addiction as well later?
Well, this is a big question. So we'll break it into the different.
Yeah, because I'm just like trying to get every information from
Yeah.
you of MENA and
So sadly,
Barcelona.
in the MENA region, there's very little work on Chemsex. Again, because of all this taboo. In Lebanon, I think there's Schoon, one of the first organizations to speak about Chemsex, and still they're very discreet because they're afraid of the backlash. Especially now, it's becoming more and more conservative. There's a lot of campaigns around sex and homosexuality and drugs. So yeah, I don't think that the MENA region is a reference now, but there's definitely some organizations that are doing amazing work, like as they're trying to do in Morocco, school in Lebanon. But that's about it. I mean, in other countries, there's nothing. There's no reference about chemsex, and this is where our role as people in diaspora to connect, and see how we can help. And this is what we're trying to do. Back to Barcelona,
So you're talking about, sorry, you're talking about ITPC MENA, right? Or any other organization
as
working
as as
in
as, as
Morocco?
the local HIV organization in Morocco. And they are connected to ITPC,
Okay,
of course.
okay.
ITPC is regional,
Yeah,
LCS
yeah,
is more national, and it's one of the oldest HIV organizations
yeah, yeah.
in Morocco. So back to Barcelona, definitely Barcelona is where it's one of the cities that has a lot of services to offer when it comes to chemsex, but still we are learning about our needs. Even the community itself. The organization I work with, it's called Stop, or just Stop. It used to be Stop SIDA, but then it's just Stop now. And it has different commissions. One of the commissions is for chemsex. It was created by people who do chemsex. Again, the importance of the community to lead the work, so they understand exactly the needs of what happened to us. Why do we use chemsex, and when does chemsex become problematic? Like drug use, if people, not everybody who drinks alcohol is alcoholic, not everyone who does drug is a drug addict. So people, they have different practices when it comes to drugs and alcohol. So they identify, at different stages with the person what they need. So STOP is focusing a lot on harm reduction, and what can I do during the chemsex to reduce my the exposure to risk. Uh, there's not, I mean, and again, through the work, they started identifying. Sorry. You get close to the door, it's okay. Yes. Sorry, I'm gonna take a pause here. All right, sorry, sorry for this. Um,
Yeah,
so
it's
so
okay.
yeah,
So that's why we are going with the normal thing. We are not. We have no
Yeah,
specific
I'm from
question.
home.
We are just
I'm
like
hosting
with the
friends,
normal.
so
No. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. We go with the flow.
so yeah, we're saying that. Then again, they felt that it's not about the drug use only. There's other issues that people are suffering from. Why do people take? Why do the consumption of drugs become problematic? Because people sometimes they have other mental health issues related to their self esteem, related to their acceptance, their body acceptance. Because drugs, helps me forget that I don't fit within the commercial body image. For others, it gives them access to spaces. So Chemsex is much more complex than just drug use. It's not about the drug use only. It's about everything that's surrounding it. And then we understood this at stop because it's part of the community. The community, we know what are our issues and we know what we need. And this is how the
Yeah.
programs are being developed. And this is most of the advocacy work has been done in the hospital issues around what's affecting, how to ask questions, how to speak about drugs, what are to understand, the person. It's not that easy as stop drugs. And this is the issue about and if we speak about different schools, there's the school of abstinence and there's the school of harm reduction. And there's a conflict between, I mean, that's not a conflict, sorry, the conflict is not the word. There's a debate still about what is the best solution, what works or not. And I think my advice to any person who think they have issues or the consumption of drugs is not normal or is excessive or is problematic, do not spare any of the solutions available. And fortunately now, in many countries, there are support groups, there are psychologists, there are, at least in Barcelona, there are psychologists, there are narcotic anonymous groups, who promote abstinence. There are all these services. Look for what works best for you, and whoever
Yeah.
says that there's one solution that fits all is a liar. There isn't. We are so different,
Yeah. Yeah.
our
Yeah. It's
practice is so
totally live.
complex, and understanding this, that there's no one solution that fits everybody, then we start looking, adapting
Yeah.
to every person's needs specifically. And this is the space that we need to create where people can speak about what do I need.
Georges, thank you so much for share these kind of information. But I always just like I pick a one word from your community led. So two words from your discussion, just like community. Community works for community. I remember when we worked these kind of when we established these organizations, community led organizations in back home. So we did a lot of work. Still, we are community led organization working a lot of things. But I'm surprised in many countries. People are not focusing in even in Canada. People are just like they. How can you talk with or to understand a person who are living with HIV, non a negative person? How can they can understand them? First, the second, if you're not have any practice about or lived experience with HIV, or lived experience with the chemsex or PNP or any drugs, then how can you understand the real situation of the
Yes.
drug user? So I think we need to encourage organizations to include people not only for peer support on the high level as decision making as well. So when you are doing some bad decision making, it will be really because you're not including community in decision making, right? So you are just like including them for your just like show people as a peer support worker. So it's just like you're not including, you're just like including your friend and family and nepotism. It will be collapse. So then you cannot provide the good services to community. Then services just like tick 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 other
Yeah.
organization like I work for many organizations just like tick tick tick
This is
tick.
but this
That's
is
it.
there's different reasons. One of them is the funding, right? That everybody they fight over the funding and they check the boxes so they can get the funding. And I think
Yeah.
there's a responsibility towards from the funders here. Again, I'm not saying that we need to exclude our allies. Our allies play a key role in advocacy. And I think from my experience, when it comes to services, it should be peer services. If you want to offer services from the community, you have to be from people who are concerned directly. A gay man should offer a service to a gay man. Somebody who practices chemsex should offer services to somebody practicing chemsex. Our allies play a role. They should be part of the organization. They help with advocacy. They can be our voice in spaces where we don't have access to. Like in Lebanon, for example, our straight allies played an extremely important role in going to spaces and see and presenting our voice. But the people who are driving are members of the community. Then you can have a co-pilot that is an ally, but the driving force of any cause should be the people who are involved and concerned by this cause. Because otherwise, it will go to fail or it will not change.
Yeah.
It does not give the change that we want. Because we don't understand. I mean, imagine me having to go and fight for the. I mean, I can speak about trans rights. I can speak that I can scream with them, but I scream behind the person who's trans. I don't go and present the trans issues in the because it doesn't make
Yeah,
sense.
I worked since 2014 with trans community, but I can talk with about them, but I cannot present them, right?
No,
Because they
yeah,
know their own issues more, and their own problems, in just like hormones problem, with the just like discrimination problem, with
yeah,
the stigma problem. So in South Asia, we have a lot of acceptance of trans community, but in English community, we have no any good acceptance for trans community. So how can I talk about them? So if I'm positive, so I know my issues. If because I'm coming with South Asian and Muslim community, then I can cover maybe Middle Eastern community, Muslim community, and South Asian community. But I cannot cover English community. I cannot cover with European community. Might be I have some experience, but not just like same issues which that people are the other community is suffering. So if I'm coming from Pakistan, we dynamic is totally different rather than in Toronto, in Barcelona, about drug use.
yeah,
So yeah, so we I mean, just like we need to talk about these things. I think yeah, I mean that's why I first broadcast coming on HIV buddies in Canada is coming with you, because you're coming with a lot of experience about MENA. And I said,
yeah.
so
But you know,
in the last minute, I sorry, you continue, please.
no, working in the MENA, we didn't have any experience to learn from. We just learned as we're moving forward, and this is, I think, the beauty of doing activism is we didn't. I've never. I didn't go to a school where they taught me to be an activist. We were just a community, and our activism came from our needs. So we sit together. What is our issues now? Is because the police is coming and raiding us, our place, and arresting us. So we need to focus on this. Then we thought about health. So it's a process of thinking. And identifying these needs cannot happen if the person is not concerned, because you might have all the good intentions. And I believe that people, a lot of our allies, like organizations like AzziSeptember in Lebanon, who played a major role in pushing for the inclusion of MSM in the HIV world. But eventually they have the limitation. And even the director back then, Ili Araj, who said, we can speak, but we cannot raise the flag. And I remember this conversation that it's up to us to move things forward because we know what we need. There's no school for activism here.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, community is coming with the real issues, not just like academia. And donor don't know about our issues. We have to share. No, this is our issue. You don't know about these things, so we need to bring our issues with ourselves, rather than just like a third person is coming. So my master's in project management, but when my all field was data collection and researches, but I don't know if I'm the not the part of the community, then how I know about just like bookish knowledge, right? Bookish
Yeah,
knowledge is not giving you the real knowledge. The real knowledge coming with the community discussions, your lived experiences, your own work. And when you're not in the decision making positions, then you are taking just like by own maybe we will help them, we will just like data, and just like these information maybe might be I mean harmful sometimes maybe, and or
yeah.
wasting of money as well. And the last question I have, so how you're feeling in Barcelona, just like coming from MENA, you did a lot of work in back home, and now you just like you said, oh, I'm new and just like starting from zero. I mean, I'm feeling these things in doing a lot of work in back home, UN and blah and UNAIDS and everywhere, just like with the Save Children, Save the Children, and many organization collaboration. And why? How? I mean, I mean, how do you feel now in working in Barcelona, just like starting from zero?
You know, we don't start from zero. We come from with our experience and with our baggage. But I think the first thing I remember coming here after 11, the revolution, the movement, the explosion, and everything, is this calm. I'm just there, and there's nothing happening. you know, I'm not in alert, and I remember just going and walking in the streets for the first 6 months. I didn't even want to meet anybody. I just want to enjoy this calm. I came with my dog with me, and you just walk for hours and hours every day. And being around the city where I don't have to worry about a threat or anything was extremely. It just I realized how much as activists in these countries we go through daily stress and exhaustion from because you always on alert what's going to happen today. I'm going to have the police or somebody's going to attack the community or there's always something happening. And being here, I could walk slowly. It took me 6 months to see the police and not go to the other side. Every time I see the police, I would just cross to the other side. And then why? I mean, I have nothing to fear. But because for me, the police is always this oppressive, body that you don't just walk by them, just run away from them. And it took me a while to just accept that this city is actually celebrating us, not only tolerating us. And it was nice because what I feel now is I just because before I wanted to change to change the world. My idea is that I want to change the system. I want to fight for everything. But now I think after experiencing this calm, I just want to be there for my community, for the people around me. If I can, and I look at the politics of the world. A lot of ugly things are happening, but I do realize also my limitation, and I do realize that. I tried. I mean, of course, we made the change. You did amazing work in Pakistan. I know I did amazing work in Lebanon, but sometimes it's time. We retire very early. I did not retire. I just changed my focus to be more local, more community support than wanting to change the world. And this is how I feel now. That I'm just enjoying the fact that I'm changing whatever I can access now. And, my neighbors, my people, and having this long-term companions like you, like Ben, like all these amazing activists. We're still there. We're still there to support the communities that we need to support, but we do it differently. We do it differently.
Yeah, you're right. I think when you're looking for sports, the sport is available from community is a very big thing with the community. This is a very good thing in our community. So when you're looking for sport, the community is available, but and sport is available. So you need to choose which sport do you need. You need a negative sport or you need a positive sport. Which way do you
Yeah.
want to go? So my friend, so I was just like suffering with very badly in September 2023, and my friend visited from Saskatchewan, especially for me. And she said, Yasser, you will find a lot of good people, but you have to choose who is good for you and who is bad for you. And you need to choose which way you don't want to go. You want to go. I mean, and I think we need to just discuss about Randy. Randy is just like sharing about so many
Thank
things
you,
about
Randy, for
US
being
too.
here and
Yes,
sharing
Randy,
things.
thank you so much, Randy, to be there. Thank you so much. And you share about stigma. Yeah, really love this word because stigma is disease. HIV is only virus, and also we need to talk about a lot about you equals to you, about drug issues. So, I mean, our campaign of HIV buddies is let's talk. So this is just like let's talk about the issue. So we are talking about things. So then we can reduce stigma and discrimination. So is one word do you want to say or one line, because we have just like almost 1 hour, so we need to close. So George, what do you want to add something? Any message to MENA community or anything do you want to add?
I think a lot of the people think sometimes it's overwhelming, and sometimes it feels that we are completely helpless when it comes to everything that we are facing in terms of stigma, in terms of the political context. But I think that it's okay to aim small, and if you can work on supporting your community and change, your small town, your street, your building, that's also it's great. Changes can be on a smaller level. It doesn't have to be about global politics. um, I think again it comes back for me, what's left from every the thing that I think is must affected me during my whole activism is the sense of community, and knowing
Yeah.
that whatever happens, we will be here for each other. I have my community to support me, and we will always support each other. This should not change. Should never change. And now more than ever, we need to go back to the sense of community.
Thank you so much, Georges. So just like one word, I will end. I like these words. So we cannot change all world. We can help community, and we should be there with each other. So it's just like a big strength. We don't have to change all world. We just like we let's talk. So
Yeah.
let's talk about things. And thank you so much for everyone. Thank you so much, George.
Thank you
I
for
will
having
share
me.
your contact information in the message, so people, if they want to contact with him, so they have to contact with him. The poster is also mentioned about his information to contact. So if you want to contact with him, so you can contact with in Europe. So he's working in your Barcelona. He's doing a great job in Barcelona, especially just like bringing international knowledge sharing, just like sharing hubs. So it's just like amazing. And HI Buddy is also doing it. Thank
Thank you
you
for having
so
me.
much, Georges. I hope to see you soon in the next meeting as
Looking
well.
forward for the next episodes.
Thank you.